That's a bucket and a foul. Breakaway. Io.
Oh, meet me at the rim and don't be late.
Give me the hot sauce. Did you not get the memo? Derek Rose can go upstairs. Oh, he's got Gimme. The steal. Right for the lead. Yeah!
Big time plays. Big time plays.
Gimme for the win. Go!
Oh, my God. I cannot believe this.
Improbable.
Yes, indeed. It's almost time for the start of Bulls training camp. Stacey counting the days down until he gets back to work with Adam Amin. Tim Kelley alongside as well. And, guys, we enjoyed the Bears. That was fun yesterday, wasn't it?
Yes. It looked like a really good football team. And they beat a good football team. Dallas was no slouch. I mean, they're a good football team.
Except for that Matt Eberflus defense. They couldn't stop a cold.
He might have been a double agent. He might have helped the Bears win, baby. You know, Scooby-Doo when they pull off the mask. Yeah. That's what they now they have a defensive coordinator. They pull off his Eberflus, baby. Way to go, double agent.
Tim, what'd you think?
Yeah, I think he finally helped us out, which is nice. That's why I'm wearing my victory orange today.
You know, it was the first time that Caleb in his career has not been sacked. So that's another indictment of the Eberflus defense.
Well, Braxton Jones and Tooney, 0 pressures.
They held up well. The offensive
0.
line played really well.
Yeah, I think Eberflus did a good job. It's a good solid. All these years here, man. He owed us. Eberflus. Thank you. Appreciate it, buddy.
You know, it's funny, pro football more than any other sport because it's only once a week. People ride that roller coaster. Last week, the Bears gave up 52 points. They're the worst team in the NFL.
The worst quarterback ever.
Now they got Caleb going to the Hall of Fame.
You know what though? But that's just sports. You know, people they're going to ride the highs and lows like a surfboard. You know,
Right.
So they come back. You know, this week and get blown out. We'll be right back on that same. Oh, get rid of everybody. We need this guy. Fire Poles. Oh my.
Did you know who leads the NFL in touchdowns?
Who's that?
Caleb Wlliams. Tied with Aaron Rodgers.
And reception touchdowns goes to Doomsday.
Yeah.
So the offense is going now.
They're cooking.
Ben Johnson got the game ball. Everything is good in Bears land. And
It's always good when you win. You know, it doesn't
Always,
matter
yeah.
what team it is. When you can come back and the day after and celebrate a good win, that's a good win for them.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have Glenn Morgan on later to talk about the Bears and look ahead to the game in Week 4 in Las Vegas against the Raiders. But as we mentioned, basketball, as usual, the topic of the day here on Gimme the Hot Sauce. And we have the best in the business to join us now. You see him on Chicago Sports Network. He is doing sideline reporting. He's on pre and post when the Bulls are on the road, when he's not traveling. Our good buddy Casey Johnson, kind enough to join us as he winds down his summer, getting ready for the long grind that is the NBA season. Casey, thanks for taking some time. I know we talked before the show. You're getting in your last round of social events, and you're one of your kids is already going to be off to school. So now it's time to get to work, right?
Yeah, I figured I'd hear Stacey's voice in my ear today to prepare me for hearing him in my voice in my ear every day. Pretty soon.
No, it's not quite ready yet, Casey. I'm still
The golden pipes.
I'm still in April, baby.
I will say that's one of my favorite parts of the job, though. I mean, I'm serious, and obviously I'm on here and there, but like hearing Adam and Stacey's call in my ear every game is that's when I know it's basketball season, man.
Yes, we're getting close, Casey, and your check's in the mail. So your check in the mail for that nice endorsement there, buddy.
You said you've already been by the Advocate Center. You mentioned you bumped into D. Rose. That's maybe share that story with the folks.
Well, I was an advocate for something else, and you always hear about the players coming back, after Labor Day to kind of start the informal workouts, and so I ran into a few players and coaches, and then I was over at the Advocate Center. The United Center today for something, and D. Rose was just standing in the lobby. He had a meeting with somebody, and it was great to see him. Because he's always split time between here and elsewhere, but he's mostly back here now, and I think you're going to see him around a lot this year. Besides the fact that he's getting his uniform rightly retired, so always good to see that guy. And obviously, anytime you get him or Joakim back from that era around the team and around the building and around the franchise, it's good for everybody.
Well, as you know, it's right around the corner, Casey.
Yeah,
I've heard some different reports here and there now that the Bulls got their team intact. There's some people who believe the Bulls are going to be a lot better than what people think, and I'm like, hey, I got to wait and see. I got to see how it all pans out. I saw a starting lineup, a projected starting lineup the other day, and I was kind of like, oh, we're still doing that, where you're going with a 3-guard. You're going with
Billy loves his guards.
That 3-guard rotation, and then, you got your power forward and your center, but we're starting 3 guards. And I'm just like, oh, I don't know about that, man. It's like I'm not a big fan of the three. I think you can use it sometimes, Casey, to speed up the pace a little bit. It could be something that can catch teams off guard, but we saw a lot last year where the Bulls really suffer sometimes on the offensive rebound when they had the smaller lineups out there, and I'm just a little concerned about that.
So who do they have starting? Because that actually to me is one of the biggest storylines of the season is like who's starting at the three. I personally think it's going to be Isaac Okoro. Who do they have projected?
They had the report I saw. It was Josh, it was Kobe, and it was Ayo at the three. And I was just like, I mean, no, that doesn't do it for me because I just think that you've seen this league, man. I mean, this league, they play big. I mean, guys they're trying to, there's people still building teams, for Jokic, trying to get bigger to be able to battle against those kind of guys. The Cleveland front line with its 2 7-footers playing the 4 and the 5. And then you got a 6'7", kid, DeAndre Hunter, that's about 6'7", 6'8" at the small forward position in the Eastern Conference. When Boston's healthy, they tried out 6'7", 6'8" guys at the small forward position. So it's a little concerning that you wouldn't slide someone in there like Okoro in there in that position because you got Buzelis, they had slided at the 4, and then Vooch at the 5. So the 3 spot they had Ayo playing the 3, and I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean that to me again is Stacey and Mark is one of the biggest storylines of training camp, and Billy's not going to tell us on media day who's starting, and obviously maybe he's going to let the process play out, but. Is it Okoro? Gives you a little bit more of a defensive look. I think if they do go 3 guards, I mean, Kevin Huerter is technically listed as a guard. I mean, he's kind of a wing. I think Huerter would probably start over Ayo. Let's not forget about Patrick Wlliams. I mean, he's one of the guys I ran into last week. He told me he's healthy. Looked obviously very excited about this season. He's kind of become a little bit of an afterthought, and I do think just given his mentality that he sometimes is better suited in a reserve role, but does he start at the 3 alongside Buzelis at the 4? I mean, they've got a lot of options at that position, and that's going to be, to me, one of the bigger stories as we go through training camp.
Well, I figured it'd be Okoro because the fact that this is a guy that is a high-energy guy. You don't have to worry about him coming out and playing on both ends. He's consistent throughout his career at being a two-way player. I think he got lost in the shuffle with Cleveland with the 2 dynamic guards they have there and then the 2 bigs. So he's kind of the 5th or 6th, maybe the 7th option on that Cleveland team. And I think his role on this team will be much bigger because he's a guy I feel like could get you at least 14 points a game at his position just off of hustle points and running in transition the way the Bulls want to play that high up tempo. He perfectly fits that style of play getting up and down the floor.
I completely agree with that last part. He is a great transition player, runs the floor hard. He's obviously also a pretty consistent corner 3-point shooter. And to me, he just adds some physicality and toughness on the defensive end. And if you start Josh, Kobe, Modis, Vucevic, you need a little bit of physicality and defensive mindedness. And to me, he as much of a 2-way player potential as he showed, I think he's more advanced at the defensive end. And to me, he's like one of those players. Every time they play the Cavs, you just kind of noticed him out there because he is a little bit more physical. So that to me is my mind is focused on him as a starter at the 3.
Yeah,
but like I said, I think training camp is going to play that out.
Yeah, I want to get back to the whole Patrick Wlliams situation. Everybody knows he signed a big contract last year, and of course had problems with injuries and ineffective play. And Billy likes those 3-guard lineups. He goes to them a lot heavily. So we're expecting Modis to make a jump in year 2. He's your power forward. Patrick is in a situation where he could lose a lot of playing time. I mean, here's a guy that has had a lot of injuries in his career. Has taken some criticism both from fans and media, and I just wonder about his mindset coming into this year. Yes, maybe there's a chance that he wins that starting small forward job, but there's also a chance he falls deep into that rotation. What do you think? How do you think he's going to handle this battle for playing time during training camp?
Yeah, I mean, especially Mark, because I know we all agree this guy is a project and probably will spend time in the G League. Well, let's not forget their first-round draft pick, lottery pick, is a forward as well.
Right.
So you're absolutely right. This could go one of 2 ways for Patrick, and I can just tell you in my brief interaction with him, he just kept repeating how happy he was to be fully healthy, and so I can just tell you, a lot of people are in a good mindset going into training camp, but it was pretty palpable that he he seemed like he was excited and eager for the season to be here and to be healthy. I don't we part of our job in the media is to tea leaf read, and just sometimes, he says some things that to me give me pause in terms of his mentality as a starter. I mean, he's at times flat out admitted he prefers coming off the bench, or he thinks he's better suited to that. And I don't know, man. I'm with you. I don't know where the season's going to go for him. I would like to see him stay healthy for 82 games to see what he can do, because, man, we're tired of saying this, but it's true. It's because not because we're hating the player, but because we're hating the results. It's like, we need him to be more consistently aggressive, and that's what Billy Donovan and the coaching staff talk about all the time, because we've all seen glimpses of it, and the body is there in terms of he plays the part physically, and if he stays healthy, maybe he can do that over the course of an 82-game season.
Yeah, I see him. If you were going to put him in the starting lineup, I would probably move Buzelis to the 3. I think Buzelis is more fit for the 3 than Patrick is. I think Patrick being a stretch 4 kind of takes a lot of pressure off of him. He doesn't have to guard the smaller, quicker guys. He can get out and transition and play a little bit more. But I could see him coming off the bench, and there's a lot of minutes coming off the bench for him if that was his role, Casey, because he could come in and play some 3. He could slide down and play some 4. So there are some minutes for him. It's just going to depend on 2 things. If he's healthy and what his mentality is. Is he going to come out here this year, if healthy, is he going to come out here and be self-motivated to the play, to have the energy every single night to come out and perform at a high level? Because right now, think about it. No one's really talking about him. No one's talking about his contract. No one's talking about anything about Patrick Wlliams. They're talking more about Gimme. They're talking about, Buzelis. There's other people getting the attention right now, and maybe that's a good thing for Patrick Wlliams.
Yeah, and to Mark's point, I mean, like, because of that competition, you hope he responds like, "Hey, man, like, my playing time's at stake here."
Right.
So,
yeah.
I mean, that's ideally what you want to see from a player, is when they're faced with competition, that they rise to meet the challenge. But I agree with you, Stace. That I've used the term, like, he's almost become an afterthought. Like, when we have the conversation, the discussion for potential starting player, because there is one starting spot on paper. It's like not a lot of people even think of him or mention him. So this season's going to be fascinating. It seems like I feel like we say that every year about him. I mean, this is year 6 already, is it? Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah. And by now, Casey, you've been around this game a long time. By now, your identity of a player is known. You know what kind of player you're going to be from the second part of your career on. And we still don't know what kind of player he is, because one, he's been injured. And the inconsistencies, when he's healthy, you don't know what kind of player he is. Maybe this is a year. I'm a big Patrick Wlliams fan. I'm not gonna bury the kid, but even me now is starting to say, okay, this is it here. This is year 6. It's not year 2, not year 3. It's year 6. Let's see what you can do. Put money aside. You're going to be here. Has nothing to do with anything now. It's just, how bad do you want to play? Because you're now on a team with a guy that was in your draft class.
Exactly.
They were 4 and 5. So,
right.
This is a guy in your draft class that the Bulls are going to have to make a decision on in his future too. So you got both these guys. You got one you've already paid, and you got another kid you're bringing here. Now, what if Okoro comes out and just tears lights out this year? That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, 4 or 5 from the 2020 draft class is pretty crazy how this league works, obviously, with Okoro here now. I mean, we've talked about the forward position kind of being lacking. And all of a sudden, you've got 5 players on paper, in Patrick, Buzelis, Asenge, Coro, and Herter, I guess, is
Julian Phillips.
Julian Phillips. Yeah, I forgot about Julian. And actually, you know what? One guy I've consistently heard in some brief conversations I had over the course of the offseason that is having a really, really good offseason is Dalen Terry. And again, listed as a guard, but can play the wing. They've just got all of a sudden they've got a lot of competition, and you want to see Patrick Wlliams respond to that competition.
Casey, as you know, I broadcast the Windy City games. I've got the over-under for Noah Asenge at 15 Windy City Bulls games. What would you go, over or under?
I think I'm going over, man. I think I'm going over. That's he just in my conversations with people, we all saw him in summer league, but I've heard that he's, a year or 2 away even from where Modest is now.
Yeah.
Obviously he's got to get physically stronger. Obviously he's got to learn the league. And I just think with all those forwards we just mentioned that are going to be battling for playing time, And if you look at the way Billy Donovan brought Modest along last season, who was definitely, probably a little bit more advanced than Noah, although, Noah's played professionally, but, Modest played in the G League. I just feel like, if you watch that play out, I think you're going to see that even more strongly with Noah.
Yeah, Modest played 2 G League games last year.
Yeah, and he really shouldn't have played those 2 games. He should have been playing about 20 minutes a game last year. He might have been rookie of the year. Okay, here's my question, Casey, to you. Vucci's coming back. Bulls weren't able to get what they needed for him, and so he's coming back. He says that he wants to go to a winning team. He wants to be on a playoff team. Okay, what if scenarios? What if the Bulls are winning and they're playing well? And does he still have the mindset that, yeah, but this is still a rebuilding team? I want to be trying to move at the trade deadline. Do the Bulls still, think that route? Or do you think Vooch changed his mind and say, hey, look, I'm having fun. These kids give me energy. I like it here, and I want to stay?
Well, I mean, fair question, but I mean, to me, it doesn't really matter what Vooch wants or thinks. It's like, it's the Bulls, the management's going to do what's best for them and for the franchise. And I'm not saying that harshly on Vooch, because Vooch is, to me, the ultimate professional. Even though last year we've all talked about, he was probably looking around going, okay, DeMar's gone, Zach's gone, Alex is gone. Like, why am I still here?
Yeah.
But you saw it, like he had his best year as a Bull last year. I was really impressed with how he kind of, made his game fit Billy's style, and just he talked about the energy, the youth that he was drawing from the youthful energy. So to me, Vooch you never have to worry about him. He is the ultimate professional, and really, to me, can fit in any style of play because he's just so skilled and so smart. Yeah, I personally think it's going to be hard for them to trade him. I mean, because he's an expiring contract now, and what team is going to give up a lot then when they can probably sign him for pretty cheap on the open market next season is like a veteran piece for a winning team. So I think Vooch will get his wish eventually. I just don't think it'll happen this year. I think in the 26-27 season you'll see him sign in unrestricted free agency, to a smaller contract for a championship contending team. Because look, he can help a winning team. He can help any team. He's a very skilled player. Very skilled player.
Well, the Bulls have a number of expiring contracts on the roster, including Kobe White. Now that Josh Giddey's drama finally got resolved, 4 years, $100 million, which they kind of got in the middle between what he wanted and what the Bulls were willing to offer. Kobe White goes into the spotlight. He may want more money than what they paid. I assume he'll want more than what they gave to Josh Giddey. Do you think he could become a trade candidate as the season wears on?
I do. And, I think we've been talking about the crosshairs being on both him and Io, dating the last season because, the proactive front offices get out in front of these situations. And if you can quibble on one thing with this front office, I mean, I know some fans quibble on a lot of things about this front office, but one thing I would probably agree with is that they've held on to their assets too long to the point where you're not getting maximum value for them. And, you're in a tough situation now because, again, both those guys are expiring. So a team that projects with cap space next summer might want to say, well, we're not going to give you much when we can sign him on the open market next summer. I know for a fact that the Bulls were involved in some pretty advanced trade talks with Io this past offseason that they couldn't finalize. So they're thinking this. Whether or not they can get the right deal remains to be seen. And I should preface or emphasize in all this, like the Bulls love both Io and Kobe, like love them. They fit exactly what they're trying to do. They are extremely valued internally. But as I mentioned before, like the good front offices get out in front of these situations and get value in return because I don't project both those players to be on the 26-27 roster. It just doesn't work financially. So you'd like to see them maybe try to figure out how to handle that situation.
Now, here's an interesting scenario. Let's say Josh Giddey and Kobe play extremely well together, and Kobe gets off on one of those tangents where he goes, instead of having 10 games where he's averaging 25, he has like 20 of those games, and he looks much better, more comfortable in the role as a two guard compared to trying to be a point guard, and Josh Giddey's assist is up and a three-point shoot, and they're playing well as a backcourt. If you're the Bulls and you see this, both young players, do you possibly break that up if they're playing well?
Well, no, and that's why, you have this from a management perspective, you have this season to figure this out. It's going to be a fluid situation for sure, because on the one hand, you've got to be projecting 1 to 3 seasons out your cap sheet, and Kobe's going to get a big payday next summer. I mean, there's 10 teams, 10 to 12 teams that project to have ample salary cap space that could make it a pretty significant offer for him. But you have his bird rights. So to your question, Stacey, like if that's happening, you can let the season play out and then just say, okay, you're going to hit unrestricted free agency, but we're going to give you 1 extra year and higher annual raises and a bigger salary than other teams. And that would be, a good problem to have if he's playing that well. And look, that's not out of the realm of possibility. I think Kobe, we all agree his role has been jacked around more than anybody in this franchise. And he always seems to find his level, if not surpass expectations. So the fact he's going into the season knowing Josh is going to be the primary ball handler, he can play off of him, he can bring it up at times. I think he's going to have a huge season. Every year, Kobe to me has gotten better, and I think he's going to have a all-star, borderline all-star caliber season this year. And Josh is going to be a big part of that, because I think those two guys show the potential to play really well together. So. Yeah. You've got time on your side, but he's going to be an ongoing storyline all season with his contract situation.
But he's not going to give you a friendly team discount either. he's going to want market value for his position. And if he has a year that I think he can have, because I'm just I've seen him go up and down, and he's always been a consistent guy that he can get his buckets if he's in a role to allow him to do that. He's played a lot of different roles here, from point guard to 2 guard. He's played some small forward here and there. He's had to guard different people. His game has evolved on both ends now. And not only he's just a scorer, he's a guy that can defend as well with size at 6'5". So that makes him that much more, important for other teams when they're looking for free agents. And so the Bulls, it's a good problem to have, but it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, the other thing, and I know you guys will agree with this, like to me, the best part about Kobe is how much of a leader and team player he is. So, his role has been jacked around a lot, but he's always come back and figured out how to help the team. And he's really grown into a leadership voice. So even though he is in a contract year and, now is clearly playing off the ball with the keys in Josh's hands, I don't have any concerns about Kobe fitting into trying to, help the team win. And he's just got enough talent that I think individually he's going to have a very good season. But he's always been about the team, and that is why I think this season will go pretty smoothly for him. But, to Mark's original question, it's going to be fascinating to see what happens with him from a contractual standpoint going into next summer.
We've mentioned Modest a couple of times. He's still incredibly young. He's got all the tools to be a really outstanding NBA player. How big of a jump do you expect Modest to make in year 2?
I think people have gotten out over their skis a little bit with Modest. I mean, and prove me wrong. I'm not saying this is not like a criticism of him as a player. I think he's got incredible potential. And what I've always loved, and I've said this on our broadcast with Stacey and Adam multiple times, and sometimes you, Mark, multiple times, is like his defensive instincts. I think that's stuff you can't teach. Like his weak side recognition for a young player and his athletic ability and his length. Obviously, I think he can be a premier shot blocker in this league, especially as he gets stronger. So, this is not a criticism of him as a player, but like I've heard some people say like he's got all-star potential. I'm like, let's slow our roll there, man. It's like he was a part-time starter his rookie year, and this is gonna be his first time handling starting every night, and he still needs to get stronger physically. Look, he's got a lot of potential. He's still a very young player. I like his swag. I like his attitude. I like his, toughness. He kind of like wants it. He wants all the smoke, and I like that part about him. But I don't know, man. I think people expecting like an all-star caliber season, I think that's a little high right there for me.
Yeah, you know what? I see him taking a bigger jump because his minutes are going to be more consistent. Last year, the first part of the season, it was non-existent.
Right.
And then all of a sudden when they did give him consistent minutes, KC, he gave you consistent play, just like any young player. When you're giving guys minimal minutes, 2 minutes here, and then yanking them when they make a mistake, it's hard to get in any kind of rhythm. And I thought that was how it was in the first half for him. But I thought after they made the trade, they freed up playing time. He was able to go out there and he was able to show what he could do. He showed you ball handling, which was one of the criticisms that he was taking when he was coming in from the draft, that he couldn't handle the ball. And that's one of the reasons why he slipped from being like the top 3 pick all the way down to where he was. And he didn't shoot the ball consistently. And I thought he made tremendous strides in the second half. And if he, with his mentality, now I've been seeing him a lot on social media. He's enjoying his celebrity status. I've been seeing a lot of it in social media. But if he comes in here this year and has got a consistent jump shot, because the minutes will be there, and all the things he can do athletically, I think he's going to have a solid year.
Yeah, you mentioned his ball handling, and we saw that in Vegas. He was obviously in the half court. They put him in some pick and roll situations to see how he can handle that. Now, pick and roll isn't a huge, staple of the way Billy's trying to play. But, I thought that was cool. They put him in that experiment. But the one thing you saw in Summer League that, we heard consistently from Billy last season that he wants to see more from Modest is the grab and go mentality, because he does have ability to get up and rebound in traffic and then just to push it. He doesn't always need to be an outlet guy. I mean, he can be a ball handler and a driver, once he grabs that rebound. And we saw that in Summer League. Now he's obviously got to translate that to the NBA level.
Hey, before I let you go, I know you got a chance to be out at Hall of Fame weekend, the induction ceremony for Billy Donovan. Billy accomplished so much on the college level, and he had a good run at OKC, but, he hasn't really had a chance to play for the big prize in the NBA. In a weird way, do you think the Hall of Fame induction is going to motivate Billy, even in entering this year, to try to get this group to take that next step?
Well, it's interesting, Mark, because, first of all, before I answer that question, we all know, the Hall of Fame, because I had some people say, Billy's going to the Hall of Fame. We always have to remember that's the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. So it's like his whole career. That dude was a player, man.
Yes,
everyone remembers Billy the Kid for Providence. He could play a little bit. And, obviously not only his incredible Florida run, but, he was assistant to Rick Pitino at Kentucky for some legendary games. They lost to Leitner on the Leitner shot and played the Fab Five. So to me, it was pretty much a no-brainer. He was going to the Hall of Fame. But to answer your question, it was interesting because when I was out out there in Springfield, I was talking to Billy one time about that very point. You're going in, but it's kind of mostly for your college career. And then obviously you had more success in OKC than you have with the Bulls. And he kind of just launched into just how important he understands the responsibility of working for this franchise. And obviously the history and all the championships that Stacey was a part of and others. And how he knows that, they haven't done much yet. And he is a competitor. And you can say what you want about Billy, is obviously a great spokesman for the organization on a daily basis, keeps an even keel, always upbeat, always positive personality. But deep in his heart, he is a stone cold competitor. And I know the fact that they have only had the one playoff series in his 5 years here eats at him. And look, I don't have high expectations for this season, but I know that Billy, wants to accomplish more while he's here in Chicago.
Well, and the thing I liked about the Hall of Fame induction, all the young guys showed up, it seemed like.
Yeah.
You saw all the young guys showed up for support, and that shows you what he means to the team. So some of these young guys, they could be screw him, he doesn't play me. I'm not going flying way up to Massachusetts. But they didn't. That shows you the kind of rapport he has with his team, that he's a player's coach. I've talked to him all the time. He's a great guy. I know the wins don't show it, but as you said, Casey, he does want to win. He wants to compete. And that's why I think now that they brought Josh Giddey back in the fold, and they, a lot of these guys are veteran players now. They're not, second and third year players. There's some guys in there with 6, 7, 8 years in the league now. It's going to be very interesting with all the injuries that these main teams have, especially in the Eastern Conference, that this could be a surprise year for the Bulls. I'm not saying they're going to, be a top 6 playoff team, but there's an opportunity if they get off to a good start and get confidence that they could probably carry that through.
Yeah, and we all know the East is down, right? People have asked me who I think is winning the East, and I'm like, I have no idea. It's the East is wide open. So maybe the Bulls can make a run. And yeah, to your point, Stace, those 5 guys, it was Modest, Patrick, Dalen, Kobe, and Io. They walked right past me, and I asked Kobe if I could do a quick interview with him, and that was my first question. Like, why are you here? And he looked at me like I was from Mars. Like, why wouldn't I be here? You know, we gotta like support our coach, and this is so cool. We have a coach who's a Hall of Famer. So they were like genuinely happy to be there. And the Bulls had like an after party after the ceremony that night, Saturday night at the hotel. I didn't get an invite, but I heard it was nice. So yeah, it's always a good weekend being out there. You know, everyone's in a good mood. Obviously, they're going in the Hall of Fame, and I thought LeBron showing up for the 2008 Olympic team was pretty cool, and just the number of players that came back. Boozer was there. 10 out of the 12 players were from that Olympic team were back. So it's always a great event, and I know the Bulls contingent had a blast honoring Billy.
All right, Casey, you know the drill. The last question goes to Whispers. What do you got?
Uh-oh.
Hey, looking at Wlliams and being as young as he is, since we were just talking about him, is there a team out there, if he stays a little healthy going towards that trade deadline, that would say, you know, we can fix this guy and he's the perfect piece? Is there a team
That's
out
a
there
great question.
that way?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Whispers gets a great question.
Yeah,
right.
That's the first one. That's the first one in 5 years, baby.
Oh,
Well, no, it really is a great question, and usually it's like he's usually scrubbed some corner of the internet that like reveals something
exactly.
about my past. So.
When you can't find any more dirt on you, Casey, I got to go with a real question.
That's why I'm actually thrilled it's a good question and not some like embarrassing part of my past. He brought up the high school badminton state tournament that I covered for the Chicago Tribune one
right.
time. I was like, that's a deep cut right there.
Yeah, it was.
No, that's a great question. I don't really have a team that comes. Well, you know what? I'm just going to completely speculate on, and you always in this day and age have to say it's speculation so it doesn't get aggregated badly. But you know, Sacramento with Stacey's guy BJ in there, they're looking to go young and they're looking to get athletic. And I know for a fact that they've had some not interest in Patrick, but just interest in like making changes and putting their imprint on the organization. So that's just a franchise that just popped into my head because of conversations I've had with people that work there. Charlotte's been linked to in the past, hometown kid, always a team that seems like they're going young and in flux. I still think it's probably a long shot, given that it's just year 2 of this $90 million deal. But if he plays well this year, maybe you do eventually turn that into an asset and flip it, because $18 million with the rise in salary cap is not prohibitive. And then you're 2 years down the road with 3 years left in the deal. So let's just fix him in Chicago first and then answer your question fully, okay?
All right, KC, thanks so much for giving us some time today. We look forward to seeing you at Media Day next week. It's here. Unbelievable.
It's always good to talk basketball, except when you have to do it daily, which is very simple.
Yeah, I hear you. Oh, Casey, I'm still in April right now, baby. I feel like
we gotta get our guy going.
I feel like Ted Williams, baby. I've been in cryogenics, and they just released me. Last thing I remember was April at the Miami versus Bulls playing game. That's the last thing I remembered.
It's a bad memory too.
It was a bad memory.
We'll be fine. Look forward to seeing you guys soon. Take
All
care.
right, bud.
All right, KC. We'll see you next week. Casey Johnson, our guest on Gimme the
Forget
Hot
Shams.
Sauce.
I'm going with KC. KC has breaking news. I'm listening to KC. Forget Shams. Shams our guy too, but KC's our hometown guy. So anytime he has breaking news, hey, Bulls Nation, listen to KC. He knows it.
And Casey said he wanted to hear your voice, so if you're still on the line, it's time for the nationwide jingle. Because when it comes to being treated like royalty, make sure you contact our guy, Jeff Vukovich. He'll take care of all your insurance needs, auto, home, and business. You can reach him at jeffvuk.com. That's VUK.com. The phone number, 847-825-4783. And how about belting one out for Casey Johnson?
It's only for KC.
All right.
Nationwide is on your side.
Welcome back to Give Me the Hot Sauce. We mentioned at the beginning of the show, Bears Nation basking in glory after that triumphant win over the Dallas Cowboys. And the thing that was so impressive about it, you know, they dominated in all 3 phases. Because Dallas, I heard a pregame interview with Dak Prescott. He said, this is a game we think we can control. So they came in a little bit fat and happy thinking that we're going to just roll over these Bears, and the Bears turned the tables on them.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what. Most teams who come in are playing the Bears, they think it's an easy game.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just tell, like, Dallas was just like, and we're not taking anything away from the Bears. The Bears just outplayed them from the start to the finish. They were dominating before halftime. So let's not discredit what the Bears did. They went out and really kicked Dallas's ass. Dallas came in, I think, thinking, oh, this is going to be an easy win. We can turn it on and turn it off. This team hasn't been playing consistent. They've lost games, so they rolled in here and they rolled and got rolled, basically.
We got to look at the Ben Johnson playbook. They ran the old flea flicker, worked for a touchdown to Luther
I
Burden
sent that
the
into
third.
him. I run that. I run that on college football. I run that play on college football on NCAA on Xbox. It worked. Ben, if you need more plays, let me know. I'll send you some more.
The funny thing was on that Swift kind of gave an alley-oop pass back. It was, and the safety's trying to catch up, or the DB's trying to catch up to Burden. That play almost didn't work because the lateral back was a little bit too high.
Well, I tell you what, they also got a good look at Burden, what he can bring to the table.
Speed.
Yeah, he can take the roof off the top off the roof defensively and really stretch the field and force the safeties have to play deeper than what they want, which in turn opens up the middle of the field for Komet and the tight ends and running backs. So they have now found a new weapon. DJ Moore kind of disappeared a little bit. He did score a touchdown, I think. He scored a touchdown.
Got one late, yeah.
But he only like 20-some yards receiving. So the last couple of games, he's been kind of non-existent. You got to wonder, are they going to try to get him more involved, get the ball to him a little bit more? Because you don't want to see him go into a funk and start pouting, and then all of a sudden now it just messes up the chemistry of the team, especially if they can build off the win they had against Dallas.
And that drive they had at the third quarter, 19 plays, ate up almost 10 minutes of time on the clock. That was impressive. They ran the ball at one point like 8 times in a row.
Well, we've been talking about that. If you can establish a running game and take some pressure off Caleb Williams to have to do everything, you got a chance to have some success. They were able to do that. I thought against Detroit when they did run the ball, I thought they did it very well. I thought they abandoned the run a little bit too quick. But if they can implement a running game and be consistent at it, even if you're getting 4 yards a pop, just be consistent at it. And I think it takes pressure off the line, the pass block. Caleb Williams can take some pressure off him. Now he can get more play action. It just makes the whole team better.
And keep a potent offense off the field. I mean,
they ate up almost the entire third quarter.
Yeah.
And then after that score, Dallas was totally deflated. I mean, it was a 10-point game at halftime, but then the third quarter is almost over. You're down 17, and your chances of coming back are virtually nil.
Yeah, the body language changed.
And they were aggressive. They had a 4th and 4 situation there, and Ben Johnson said, forget the field goal. We're going to go for the touchdown. And Caleb made a good play, rolling out of the pocket. And
a lot of people were going, no, we've been in these 4th down and 1-inch plays. We weren't able to get them, in Detroit. Let's just kick the field, get the points. But then it instills confidence in your team because, you didn't get them in Detroit when you needed them. And then your team, if you lose confidence in your team and you got a situation where, you want to go for it, but you're like, well, in Detroit, we didn't go for it. We didn't get any points out of that situation. So let's just go ahead and kick it. It instills confidence in your team that you as the head coach still believes in what you can do and these guys can get it. Go out there and block, hold your blocks, do whatever you got to do, but let's get this first down. Let's score a touchdown.
Yeah, I was covering the game yesterday. I was in the post-game locker room, and a lot of the defensive guys were salty. They were not happy with the media coverage following that 52-point disaster in Detroit, and they made it clear that, the media was jumping to conclusions about how good or bad this defense is. And the play they got from Tremaine Edmonds, 2 interceptions, both very athletic plays. One, he gets the deflected tip. He dives, catches it before it hits the ground. The second one, a leaping grab in the end zone. He had 15, 16 tackles. He was all over the field.
Well, I tell you what, and Mark didn't preface this, but when he was in there doing the interviews, he made sure that they knew that it wasn't him. He's like, hey,
well,
I supported you guys. I knew you guys were a great defense, and you showed it today. It wasn't me talking trash, okay? Give me the hot sauce. We didn't talk trash about the defense. And then they were happy to give Mark an interview. Way to go, Mark. But again, that linebacker is a really good player.
Yeah.
He's a really good player. When he's healthy, he can make plays like that. He's a guy, like if you play in fantasy, like I have a fantasy league, the IDP, individual defensive player, he's a guy, when he's on your roster, you're going to score a lot of points because he's all over the place. He was flying all over the place on that field. And when you get him playing like that, it's contagious with everybody else because they want to play just as hard as him. And you could tell, I saw the after game when they were passing out, in the locker room, they're passing out game balls. Caleb Williams got one, he got one for the defense. And you could just tell that he's such a leader.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even about him. It was like, hey, let's enjoy this, enjoy this win, but we got to, come with the same energy next week. And you can just tell he's a leader and guys follow him.
Yeah, we're taping on a Monday afternoon. There's a good game Monday night with the Lions playing the Ravens. So if the Lions would lose that game, they'd be 1-2. Green Bay loses at Cleveland on a blocked field goal, 13-10. So they're 2-1, and the Bears are 1-2. So all of a sudden, the division looks a little bit different now than it did a week ago.
Well, and we talked about that. I mean, it's like, don't get too high and too low right now. It's early in the season. Injuries could really play an important part in whether your team's having success or not. The Bears have had times where they move the football and they look good, and all of a sudden they disappear and they can't move the football. Yesterday was one of those times where they were dominant from the start to the finish. And if they can consistently do that, now we saw their schedule, before the season started, you saw these games that are almost like they can't win, but if they play a team like Dallas who comes in here with the mindset, we're going to walk through you, it's going to be an easy game, the Bears will beat those teams. They'll beat those teams. And those are some of those wins that are going to add up at the end of the season. These teams that overlook you thinking because you're like a wounded dog and all of a sudden you still got a bite, they can win some of these games. They won it yesterday.
It was funny, too. Green Bay really laid an egg. Jordan Love threw a terrible interception that led to Cleveland being able to tie the game late. And afterwards, Micah Parsons was interviewed, the new Packers hopeful, and he said, well, it's hard to go through a season unbeaten. And even Super Bowl teams lose every now and again. I'm like, what? You won 2 games so far.
Listen, that's probably the mentality they had in Dallas.
Yeah,
that's why they never had success in the postseason. Listen, it's you're going to win and you're going to lose in this league, but there's no way in the world that Cleveland should have beat them. Not the way they've been playing. And it's a surprise. It's an upset. You can say whatever you want to say. For that Cleveland team to hold you to 10 points and your offense just pretty much stunk it up all day, that's you got to take some blame on that. You got to take some onus on that and say, hey, look, you know what? We didn't play like we're capable of playing. Our bad. We got to come back and be focused and be focused to details, offensively and defensively, instead of saying, well, no team went undefeated. Come on, man. Come on, stop it. Stop it.
And the Vikings are 2-1. It was a battle of backup quarterbacks as they took on the Cincinnati Bengals. J.J. McCarthy out 2 to 4 weeks with his injury. And Carson Wentz comes off the street, puts up some big numbers as they beat the Bengals.
Was he working at Home Depot?
I think he was.
Somebody said Carson Wentz was working at Home Depot. He was a manager. I don't know. I mean, that's what they say. I don't know.
He broke a record yesterday.
Well, he's still a legit quarterback.
Yeah.
Let's get all jokes aside. He can still sling the football.
Yeah.
And they've got a decent enough team with the wide receivers that they have and the offense, and their coach is an offensive genius, and he's a smart guy to come in there and be able to pick up the offense and move the ball. They're playing a Cincinnati team right now that's reeling. You lose your star quarterback, Joe Burrow. Could be, we don't know how long, it could be the whole season.
Yeah.
They're just not the same offensively without Joe Burrow.
Where there's a good quarterback as well, Norman, Oklahoma. John Mateer, the Sooners are ranked top 10 this week.
Okay, I just want to go out here on a limb and say this. We're going to the national championship game. Mark it down. Cisco, make sure you record this. We just beat Auburn, who was playing really well.
Yeah.
Their former quarterback used to be our quarterback.
Yeah.
He lost his job and transferred. But we look really good. Listen, the one thing.
Look at this, 7.
Yeah, 7. Okay, and that's not a fluke, America. The Sooners are back. Let me just say this about this team. They have been able now to recruit. The portal has really helped them. It didn't help them in the past, but it's really helped them now. Venables is one of the best defensive minds in college football. He'll come up with all kind of different schemes. He did it at Clemson. He was there when they won the national championship in Clemson. He won national championships at Oklahoma as a defensive coordinator. The one thing that guy can do is coach defense. And if you watch them play, they're flying all over the ball. They're getting interceptions. They're sacking quarterback. They're blitzing at the right time, forcing turnovers. And they have them confused because they don't look like the same team every week. When you go into the week against a team, you watch them on film, and you say, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, they're going to do this. When you watch a Venables team, you're coming out thinking, well, they're going to play the same way, the blitzing style that they had against Michigan, against Underwood, the young quarterback, so they're going to probably play the same. They came out with totally different looks and totally different blitz packages that I thought caught Auburn off guard. Now, their quarterback did miss some big throws. He's got a big-time arm, but he's got no touch. He had at least 2, maybe 3 guys wide open on seam routes that he overthrew by 5 yards. Had he connected, you may be looking at a different game.
So what, a couple of weeks till the Red River Shootout, Texas?
Yeah, I think it's in October sometime. So, I think I might have to fly down there this year. I've been wanting to go, all the time, but we're always in preseason. But this might be a year, baby, that we're winning.
The king won't be there.
We might be in top 5, baby. I might be down there, baby. Some of my students, baby. Oh, down in Texas, baby. Down in Texas.
Hey, if you watched the show last week, you saw that Stacey was sporting a Chicago Cubs hat. Now he's back to the Yankees. Somebody laced the Cubs champagne because they lost 4 in a row in Cincinnati after that wild celebration.
See, See, this is why I don't wear the Cubs hat. This is why I stayed. This is why I stayed out of it. I was like, that little meme of Homer Simpson when he comes out of the bushes, and he goes back in. That's me, America. Cubs Nation, that was me. I came out for a second with a Cubs hat, and then they went on that little losing streak, and I went right back into the bushes.
I think the baseball playoffs are going to be fascinating this year because there's no real dominant team. I know you still like the Dodgers, but they haven't had the regular season everybody thought. The Yankees have been good at times, but they've had their slumps as well. I think really anybody could come out of this field and make that deep run.
Well, Mark, I got my Dodgers coming out of the National, and I got the Yankees coming out of the East.
Rematch of last year.
I think the Yankees, both those teams, that it's almost like when you're so good and you got so much firepower, it's expected that you win every game. And I think, we've been there. Where there's teams that we lost to in a championship run that we shouldn't have lost to. But when it comes time to play and the games actually seriously matter, playoff time, we always turned it up 3 notches more than the team that we played. And I think the Dodgers are the same way because they got pitching. Pitching wins in this game, and they also got hitting. If their hitters get hot, they're going to cause a lot of problems. And I think the Yankees is a team that also can hit. They get hot, especially in the middle of that lineup. It could be some problems for some teams.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to watch.
But come on, Cubs. I want to come back out of the bushes. I want to come back with my hat on, but I'm not doing it until y'all win that little series. I'm not doing it.
All right, I know Tim's got business to take care of.
Yeah,
so before you leave, give us what are we watching for this?
Outlander. So it's about my heritage.
That's all you're going to tell us?
Scottish Highlanders.
Is that you? I thought that was Tim right there, the little redhead dude.
He's oddly enough a 6'3" redheaded guy.
Yeah, I thought it was just like you. I thought maybe you put
it
like your head on him or something.
Yeah, I think my wife's going to force me to dress up like him this Halloween. So she's just one who really got into the show and dragged me into it. But it's really good. She time travels back 200 years from World War II into no.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said you were talking about your wife. You said
she's got superpowers.
Yeah, then she transported 200 years. I'm like, hey, your wife?
I think she would go back 200 years now after watching the show.
Maureen, that wasn't me, girl. That was your husband said that.
Stacey, what do you got?
Man on Fire. It's an old classic with Denzel Washington. He's a bodyguard. He protects this little girl. There's a scheme to kidnap in Mexico. They're kidnapping dignitaries and then holding them ransom. Sometimes they kill them and they get the money and they kill them. They mess with the wrong man with Denzel. That's all I'm going to tell you, America. Denzel, if you've never seen that movie, if you hadn't seen that movie's old now because Dakota Fanning was probably about 7 years old in that film. And she's like 32 now. So if you haven't seen it by now, and then don't get mad at me for telling you what happened, okay? Because if you haven't seen it in 20-something years, that's your own fault.
Netflix has produced some great documentaries over the years, and now they've got one they just released on Charlie Sheen called AKA Charlie Sheen. It's a 2-part watch, and it's just fascinating for him to detail some of the drug abuse he's done and some of the crazy stunts. He's talking about flying a plane because the pilot was so enamored of him and actually gave him control of the aircraft when he was hammered. I mean, just some bizarre stories. But the one that really our audience is going to appreciate was there was a television show, network show back in the 80s called Battle of the Stars, where they had celebrities going against athletes.
Track meets and stuff.
And Charlie Sheen and his dad, Martin Sheen, played Michael Jordan in 2-on-1 basketball. And they actually show clips from the game during the first part of the documentary. And Charlie Sheen hits a baseline jumper, and they beat Michael Jordan. A game of 2-on-1.
Well, he had those John Stockton shorts on. I was like, hey, buddy, you got a thong on under that? Yeah, what are you doing over there, man? Please be some longer shorts. How old was that? Like in the 80s?
That was late 80s, yeah. 87, 88, something like that.
Man, you don't take them old girl shorts off, boy, looking like them Daisy Dukes. What the hell is going on back there, Charlie Sheen? I like Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen is a great actor. He's got a lot of things happen off the set. But as far as acting, man, he's been very consistent as an actor, and got a great personality. Then moved to TV shows. Was it 2.5 Men? He was on that, and he really, he really made that show. That was a long-lasting show. So, he's had some problems. A lot of problems. But it's one of those kids that grew up in Hollywood. Rob Lowe, the Brat Pack, he was part of all that kind of stuff. The Penn brothers, all those guys dabbled into a lot of different things.
Yeah, they interviewed Sean Penn in there, and the whole time he's smoking a cigarette, drinking coffee, and he can barely get the words out.
I'll tell you, Sean Penn looks like he's about 90 years old.
He does. He has not aged well.
Boy, he looks like bad leather. If leather was a human, it would be him. That's why he looks like a piece of leather.
But I definitely recommend it. It's great, and they go through the whole story of them growing up. It's interesting that his brother Emilio actually was the one who became a star first.
Yeah,
and he was kind of jealous of that, and he wanted to follow. And he kept the name, to keep the Hispanic heritage. And Charlie went with his dad, who changed his name to Martin Sheen. So
yeah, and their dad was a good actor.
Yeah,
they
talked about they were on the set of Apocalypse Now, and it took like 2 years to
9
film
months,
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that because I'm a big Charlie Sheen guy. I like Charlie Sheen. He's funny as hell.
Yeah, so that's our recommendations for this week, and Whispers has got to go. So I think it's time to say goodbye for this week.
Yep. Well, hey, Whispers, you know what? Just go ahead and put some batteries in that shirt. I know the batteries are running low right now. I went from being orange to starting to turn a little bit colors right now. So we're gonna put some batteries, some AA batteries in it.
The red right out of my face.
I couldn't tell between your face and the shirt. You look like just one bland person over there.
That's right.
But I love you, boy. I
And
love you like a brother.
next week is Bulls Media Day.
Oh,
So
Lord.
we'll talk about what some of the key figures said, and that'll be on the next episode. Until then, though.
Drive home safely. Chicago, BP.
He didn't come for the massage, he came for the facial.
Does anybody know how to post videos to Facebook?
There's a block party, right? Did he get the invitation? That's a huge three! Mustard! Lonzo left alone. Give me that sauce. Able to swerve, bend that corner. That's the last time I'm going to say it. Williams.